Football, athletics, cricket or tennis, it's time to pit your wits against the experts in our World Service Sports Quiz, Game, Set and Match. And here's our umpire, Paddy Feeny.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Welcome to Game, Set and Match, which is to sport what Dave Lee Travis is to current affairs. And talking of DLT, we have someone here whose initials are KA. He's back on the programme again at special request. He keeps asking if he can be allowed to do it again, and we'll let him in. He's a hurdler who won fame, if not fortune, in Olympic, World, European and Commonwealth Games. Kriss Akabusi, MBE. Chris's stablemate for record-equalling second time is a real firebrand of a hockey player, the Firebrands being the name of the club he plays for. He also appears in goal for the England international team and is rated world-class both by his colleagues and by hockey correspondents, all of which adds up to Simon Mason. Chris and Simon are up against another former goalie who has now become better known in a very different sphere. He was, he tells me, reserve goalkeeper for a school soccer team at the age of 14. Since then, he has won 5 world gold medals and 3 Olympic gold medals in rowing. Peerless in the coxswain pairs, Steve Redgrave, MBE. And so to squash, and a man who has won the Singapore Open, the US Open and the European Champion of Champions. He also pulled off one of the surprises of 1994 when he beat the world champion, Jancho Khan, and he gave him a pretty tough time in March as well in the Portuguese Open. He is Peter Nicol. One other person to mention, that's our scorer, Louise Friend, who is OK up to 10, but then tends to go Jack, Queen, King. So you can guess where she spent her youth. In round 1, it is going to be 2 points for a correct answer, 1 point for a bonus, and we want you to identify some record breakers, if you please. You work as a team for this one, so to start with, Steve and Peter. A record breaker. He is an Australian cricketer who has played in more tests and scored more test runs than anyone else. Who is he?
Alan Border. Alan
Border is absolutely right. You'll get 2 points. We go across to Chris and Simon. He is the first to reach and then lose 5 World Snooker Championships finals in a row. 5 World Snooker Championship finals in a row he has reached, and he's...
Steve Davis.
No, and lost them all, no. So that goes across for a possible bonus to Steve and Peter.
Jimmy White.
Jimmy White is absolutely right, yes. Your own question now. He is the only squash player who has reached 9 world finals. Peter looking a little thoughtful about that one.
Jancho Khan.
No, it isn't Jancho Khan, so that goes across to Chris and Simon.
Peter Nicol.
No. No, but you get 1 point for a charming compliment. So that's it. Jahangir Khan it is, actually. Chris and Simon, your turn now. He has broken his own world record outdoors on 17 consecutive occasions since 1984, and he is still going strong. Bubka, yes, we're talking about...
Silka.
And the event is...
Povo.
Absolutely right. Steve and Peter, who is the Cameroon player named after a pop singer who both played in and scored a goal in the 1994 Football World Cup finals at the age of 42?
Roger Miller?
Roger Miller is correct. Well done, Peter. Who has won, this is for Chris and Simon, and the final question in this round, who has won more golf majors than any other golfer? What's he written down? What have you written down, Chris? What have you written?
Jack Nicklaus.
Have you? Is that going to be your answer?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yes, I think you will be absolutely right. Yes, Jack Nicklaus, he's won 18, and of course he's known as the Golden Bear. Time to find out from Louise what the scores look like, remembering, of course, that 4 of a kind beats a full house. And we've got Peter and Steve currently on 5, Chris and Simon also on 5. Round 2, your own sports, and this is where you get a chance to show off how much or how little you know about them. Everybody loves it, of course, when you get it wrong. So 2 points for a correct answer and 3 for a bonus, because you really should know the answers to these ones. Simon, will you please listen to this?
And the ball's gone over the sideline just down below us for a hit into Germany, and inevitably it will be Carsten Fischer to be involved. He could well put a high one up, which is exactly what he does, drives it deep into the Great Britain half, where Rob Hill can't collect it. That was a difficult one, and it's put the Great Britain defence in some pressures. The ball comes across the circle, and is it a goal? I think Beckham may have scored. It's certainly a second goal for Germany. Well, that was disaster, certainly, for Great Britain, as they go 2 down with just about 5 minutes left in the first.
Simon, what match was that?
That's the pool match in the 1992 Olympic Games.
Yes.
In Barcelona.
Yeah, the final score, do you remember the final score? I mean, you certainly got it.
I think it was 2-1.
It was, to Germany, and of course Great Britain didn't even make the semi-finals after having got gold in 1988. How many times, though, have West Germany been Olympic champions? That's for another 2 points.
Once.
No, so that can go across to the other side.
Twice.
Twice is right, yes. Yes, they were champions in 1992, and also they were champions in the Munich Olympics back in 1972. I was saying there about Great Britain, of course. They did extremely well in 88, and then in 92 it all went wrong for them. What about now? How's the situation now?
We're building up again. We've had a successful sort of last 2 years, really. We beat Pakistan 3 times out of the last 3 games, who are the current world champions. So we've got to bring some youngsters on. Unfortunately, after 88, we had retirement of a lot of established players. So we're having to get the younger ones becoming more established and drawing more people into the squad. And it's getting there. So it shows promise for next summer. Hopefully in Atlanta we can actually achieve something.
One thing that interests me, of course, before you, there was Ian Taylor, wasn't there, who was another great goalie. Do you think that we're starting to get a tradition for having top world-class hockey goalies, just as we used to have a tradition for top-class soccer goalies?
There certainly seems to be a trait that they've churned out quite a few. I mean, even before Taylor, there were renowned goalkeepers, and obviously Taylor was the best goalkeeper of his time in the world. And then between myself and him, there was been a couple of others who have been noted by particularly opposing forwards as being pretty standing in their way of getting goals. And then hopefully I aim to establish myself in that sort of slot.
Well, we'll be looking to your future with interest, and we will go on now to Peter Nicol. Peter, a commentary clip coming up for you.
Well, it was a hard work point, and Liz Irving, well, she did so many good things in that rally. Finally took the point, but Michel Martin just kept running them down. And then the deep shot.
And out, 8-3, match ball.
Into the corner, gives Martin match ball again. She threw it up too high. It's out of the court, and Michel Martin takes the third game, 9-3.
Miss Martin wins 3 games to love, 9-1, 9-5, 9-3.
Michel Martin beating Liz Irvin in the 94 British Open and Squash Championships, a result that she repeated, of course, this year. But in which year and in which country did Michel's brother Rodney win the World Open?
91 in Australia?
Yes, indeed. Do you remember who he beat in the final?
Jahangir.
Yes, by 3 games to 1, wasn't it? Yes. Now, the second question, also worth 2 points. As a Scotsman, who was your only fellow countryman to reach the final of the British Open? And we're going back about 30 years, I can tell you that.
Sorry.
No? Well, I'm sure that Kriss Akabusi knows. Or Simon Mason even. No? Well, it was 1964, and his name, Peter, was Mike Oddie. I don't know if you heard Mike Oddie. One thing about squash at the moment, because we've got this new Super League in the UK, what kind of effect is that having on the general standard of the game and on British prospects in particular, would you say?
It's great because most of the tournaments now are abroad, the squash tournaments, so to have actually a league that's going through the season and being played every week in this country it's great for younger players to see, and hopefully they'll aspire to playing it, and it's great for us to play as well.
And of course you're getting some of the top names from around the world taking part.
Yes, you're allowed one foreigner in each team, so although it's basically a British-based league with British players, you do get the best players in the world playing. Now,
Pakistan, of course, is the country that one associates with perhaps the top squash players of all time. Why do you think, over the years, not particularly now, but even in the past, they seem to breed such brilliant players?
I think it could have something to do with the financial aspect. They're given a big budget, I think, in Pakistan to bring on players, and once they've decided to go professional, they're supported fully in their country and to travel around all the world. And it makes it a lot easier.
Right. Chris, we're coming to you now. Will you please hearken unto this?
Into the straight, and the two of them side by side. It's going to be a British 1-2. There's not an inch between them. And now Roger Black hits the front. Roger Black hits the front, but now Ladouceur comes back. Ladouceur's going to win it. It's victory for Ladouceur.
What race, Chris, was that, and when?
There's the World Championships last year, 1994, in Stuttgart, the 400-metre final. European Championships, Dwayne Lajeja won, Roger Black came second.
Yes, European, I think, rather than the World Championships.
What did I say?
Yes, I think you said world at the start, but it was just a slip of the brain, you know. You got 2 points. Okay, your second question coming up. Roger Black was second there, but how many European goals has he won in individual and relay competitions?
Individual and relay?
And relay, because you've been in a team with him,
Okay, that's right. Well, in 1986 he won 2. He was European champion for the 400 and the 400 relay. In 1990...
Is there a time limit on this?
Yes.
1990 he won a further 2.
If it goes beyond the turn of the century, cut him off.
And he's won 5 gold medals.
He has won 5 gold medals. That's brilliantly done. Well done. I'll give you a bonus for that, because you did that extremely well. Now, Steve, it's time to find out how much you know about rowing.
And I think the British may be going for a silver medal here. They're winding up for the finish. They're coming through. They're coming through neck and neck with the Czechs. Romania still for the gold. Britain right up there with the Czechs for the silver medal. And the Britain have just pushed into silver medal position. And the last 100 metres to the line, they're just an inch ahead of the Czechs. Here we go, right over the line. Romania coming through on the last 50 metres past the stand. Romania come through over the line now, and the Czechs have just got the silver. Czechoslovakia now, Britain now, and fourth come in East Germany. So a bronze medal for Britain, but what a wonderful achievement.
What was the event, Steve, and the venue also where Britain took that bronze medal?
The event was, I think, Cox Fours.
Yes.
The venue was 89, and it was in Bled.
Yes, and we're talking about Bled in Yugoslavia now, Slovenia, of course.
Slovenia now.
And World Championship was the overall event, yeah. Now, Britain won a total of 4 medals in those championships, including that bronze and also a silver for you and for Simon Beresford in the Coxless pairs. But can you name either of the other 2 events in which they took bronze?
The men's 8s was 1.
Right. You've got your 2 points, but just to show how really brilliant you are, would you like to? And you might even get a bonus like Chris got for his, if you can think of it. Doesn't matter.
Lightweight 4s?
Yes, the lightweight And talking about the 8s and the lightweight Coxless 4s, Steve Redgrave and Peter Nicol now have got 15 points, and Kriss Akabusi and Simon Mason have now got 12. So on to round 3, and John Stone, whose voice comes up like thunder on the road to Mandalay, will read some statements, and all you have to decide is whether they're true or false. 2 points if you get it right, and may the best man win. The first statement is for Peter and Steve. True or false?
The Winter Olympics first took place before the Summer Olympics.
False.
False, yes, you're right. The Summer Olympics began in 1896, the Winter Olympics in 1924. Simon and Chris?
The rules of hockey were taken from ice hockey.
False.
False, yes. Hockey rules were first brought out in 1875, ice hockey in 1908. Peter and Steve?
Rowing in its present form was instituted by an Irish comedian called Tom Doggett.
True.
Yes. Do you know which particular race we get from?
The Doggett Cone Badge.
Yes, which started back in 1727. Well done. And now for Simon and Chris.
The marathon is named after a Greek town.
True.
True, yes, good. Peter and Steve, here's a statement for you.
Cricketers first bowled underarm along the ground.
True.
Yes, it is true. Yes, overarm bowling came to the fore in the 1760s, and the first person, in fact, to bowl overarm, as far as we know, was a woman. Simon and Chris.
Women played organised squash before men.
True.
Well, no, not quite right. So no, no, we don't. No, we don't put it across. No, it's false. The boys at Harrow's School in 1817 formed an association, and the men's squash association, as such, was formed in 1928. The women's in 1934. And the fact of the matter, as far as the score is concerned at the end of round 3, is that Peter and Steve are on 21, 5 ahead of Chris and Simon.
We're coming back.
Round 4, whose voices are these? 3 voices joined together for each team, 2 points per voice, or 1 if it's a bonus. So, Chris and Simon, will you listen very carefully and see if you can identify this trio?
This is what I study. I study the art. I'm looking for the financial rewards it can bring in order to set myself free. This is what money does. It sets you free. And that night I knew I had set myself free to get married. You understand?
It's a revolutionary idea because it just keeps it a certain length and I don't have to remove it entirely. I may even market the idea. And the girls like me better with shorter hair. I don't want them to start liking other guys, you know?
You can't tell me that everyone fast grows up in America because originally everyone in America came from somewhere else. So the one thing, the message I give is for kids to obviously look up, stay focused, make a decision to do the right thing. That is, stay away from the drugs and never give up. That's the key to anything. Just go for it and have a good time.
So 3 voices there of 3 very famous sportsmen. Chris looks a bit worried. Simon looks positively suicidal. Well, let's see if they can get it. 2 points for each one that you get right. Okay? Now, who's going to lead off with that?
We're not quite sure who the first one is. We think it was Chris Eubank.
Chris Eubank is correct, yes. Yes, on proposing marriage after he'd won a match and could afford it, yes.
Sorry, Chris, I didn't mean it, honest.
You better be able to run quick,
That's
my son.
right.
Right, number 2. About the length of his hair.
Agassi.
You're absolutely right. Yes, that was. He shaved the hair on his chest to be more aerodynamic, he said. And what about number 3?
I didn't have a clue what that was.
Somebody was talking about running fast? No? Ooh, right. Well, let's see if either Steve or Peter can get that one.
I think it's Lewis.
No.
Carl Lewis is absolutely right. So
No! That was Carl Lewis? Let me hear that again.
You've heard of him, have you? I mean, he was ran a bit. Just a quick word about your own basketball career now. You're not actually a person who does a lot of the scoring, as I understand. You're kind of an assist man and things.
I'm not even that, really. I mean, I haven't scored any points. I've only been in for 7 minutes. So I like to run around the court a bit. That's all I do. I jump over the ball every now and again.
Apart from that, you've also been in panto?
Yeah, that's good news. Now that's great. I did a lot of running about a bit on that as well. I didn't say too much, but I did cause some havoc.
Did you? What were you and what pantomime were you in?
I was in Dick Whittington down at Southampton. It was loaded with lots of stars, and I was King Rat's henchman, and we had some good fun. It was great fun.
Well, on that note, I think we'll go across the other side, and we've got 3 voices coming up for Steve and Peter.
When we were 13, 14, we used to have Elvis rock and roll competitions when we were young kids, you know, and Elvis was played all the time, and we used to do the bop and everything. It was great. You know, young kids diving about doing, you know, the backflip, not the backflip, I can't do that, but twisting on the sides, and it was great. But the music, you know, when I got into the jukebox, I had £2 in, the first 10 records would be Elvis.
I do a lot of training, do a lot of running and sprinting. I play squash and 2-3 hours and do gymnasium. And the only thing is lots of discipline as well. You have to sacrifice lots of wishes when you have to achieve something.
Mostly it's been the fathers. There have been a few stage mothers, but mostly it's been the fathers, strangely enough. But sometimes the parents get out of control. They want what's best for their daughter, but they don't necessarily know what's best for their daughter.
Now, how did you do? Okay?
Good.
Paul Gascoigne.
Paul Gascoigne, the first one, talking about Elvis the Pelvis, yes.
Steve knew the second one.
So Jahan Khan?
Who? Yes, Jahangir Khan, yes, good. That's great, yes. And the third?
Martina Navratilova.
Yes, that's right. Her book, The Total Zone, is out these days, and it features a child tennis star and also her pushy father. So you got all of those right. Good, well done. You get 6 points there. Yeah. Steve, we didn't have a rower in that, but when it comes to rowing, you yourself have often said that you would really like to have won at single sculls. You'd like to be a man on your own.
That was the event I would like to have won, yeah. My aims were always to try and win the single sculls at the 88 Olympics, but I did it in the boat.
Yeah.
Went wrong slightly, but winning an Olympic gold medal and a bronze medal at that championships, if you can class that going wrong. But I think any sport, to actually do it as one person, it's got to be the ultimate. And rowing is mainly known as a team sport. And I've mainly had my success within the team element of the sport.
Do you and Matthew Pinson, do you have any kind of signals between you as to what you're going to do tactically, or do you just have the kind of empathy, as it were, that you know exactly where you both are?
Well, within a race situation, it's really down to me to call the tactics of that race. We have a race plan before we go out, and we use that and it'll work. But sometimes that has to be changed, and it's down for me to call that. But it'll just sort of be key words like "go" and things like that. But it's mainly down to all the practice that's done. But just the odd key word, and try and keep down not to panicking, which is a key thing that often happens.
Well, I can tell you one thing, you and Peter are doing pretty well as a two-man team on this occasion, acting as one, because you got 28 points to Chris and Simon's 20. Here's a very popular...
We're not panicking.
You're not panicking?
We're not panicking.
Okay, well, see how you do in this one. This is a very popular round. It's called Where in the World. We have 4 regions of the world, and you, as teams, choose which one of them you'd like to answer a question on. The regions are the Americas, Asia and the Far East, Australasia and Africa. And in deference to their combined age, Peter and Steve have the first chance.
Americas.
Americas, right. Let's have a look and see what we have on the Americas. Who won the 1995 Super Bowl?
San Francisco. 49ers.
San Francisco 49ers is correct. Well done. 2 points for that. Which basketball player has announced a comeback with the Chicago Bulls?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, yes, after 17 months retirement. Who took the checkered flag in the opening Grand Prix of the 1995 motor racing season in Brazil?
Schumacher took the flag.
Yes.
He wasn't given the victory.
That's right. Right. So that's Americas, and you've got 100% on that. We go across to Chris and Simon, and you can choose from Asia, Africa, and Australasia.
I'll go for Africa.
Africa you'll go for. Who beat Pakistan by an innings in 1995 to record their first Test win in their history?
South Africa.
No. They've had plenty of Test wins before now, so that can go across for a possible bonus of 1. Yes. Steve or Peter? They're having a quick chat?
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe is correct, yes. You get a bonus of 1. Simon, I think you're off to Zimbabwe soon as well, aren't you?
That's right.
To play hockey there. From which country does world champion 1500-metre athlete Abdi Bile hail?
Somalia.
Somalia is right, good, for 2 points. Which African country won the 1995 men's and women's event in the World Cross Country Championships?
Kenya.
Kenya is right. The current situation, Peter and Steve still in the lead, and Chris and Simon still aren't. That just leaves us the buzzer and bell round. If Chris and Simon want to draw attention to themselves, they will make this noise. And if Peter and Steve want to, they will sound like this. Great. So a whole parcel of quick questions worth 2 points for the first time of asking, 3 points if it goes across for a bonus. If you're ready, on guard, here we go. Who was recently sacked as England's cricket manager? And that is Chris. It's a quick round, Chris.
Yes. I know he took his place.
No, well, who was sacked? No? It's going across for a possible bonus of 3 to Peter and Steve.
Fletcher.
Keith Fletcher is correct, and that was Steve coming in there for a bonus of 3 points. Why are the Searle brothers now in the Coxless Fours team? And that is Steve, obviously.
The Cox Pair event has been taken out of the Olympic Games.
That's right, so they're in the Coxless Fours instead. Which British club has won the National Hockey League 3 times in the last 4 seasons? Yes, Chris?
Haven't.
And Chris was telling Simon. Can't believe it. Right.
That's my local club.
Oh, I see. What happened to one Australia off San Diego in March 1995? Steve?
They sunk in America's Cup.
That's right, a 1.2 million yacht sunk in 2 minutes. From which city does the Great North Run start? And that is Chris?
It's in the northeast.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's in the north.
Newcastle, Durham, yeah.
Which are we having?
I think it's Durham.
No, not Durham, so it goes across for a possible bonus to Steve and Peter.
Newcastle or Durham?
Newcastle, yeah? OK. Where does the British women's boat race take place? And that is Steve? Henley on the Thames is right for 2 points. Can you name the winner of the 95 Australian Motorcycling Grand Prix? And that is Simon.
Schwantz.
No, it wasn't Schwantz, so again a possible bonus of 3 going to Peter.
Doohan?
Yes, indeed, Michael Doohan of Australia, the world 500cc champion.
Good man.
Who beat Nigel Short to win the world chess title? And that is Chris?
Kasparov.
Kasparov is right, but your name isn't Chris, but you're on the same team, so I'll give you 2 points. OK, Gary Kasparov. What race always finishes with a sprint down the Champs-Élysées? And that is Simon.
Tour de France.
Tour de France is right, and we're talking there obviously about cycling. For which team do the Frenchman Basile Boli and the Dane Michael Landrop play? And that is Peter.
Glasgow Rangers.
Is correct. Coming from Scotland, you'd have been in trouble if you didn't get that one. In which sport is Lottie Neumann of Sweden one of the world's top players? And that is Peter again.
Golf.
Golf is correct. Who is Damon Hill's co-driver at Williams in 1995? That is Simon coming in.
Yes. Damon Coulthard.
David Coulthard is right. And who is the first man to have captained the England rugby team to 3 Grand Slams? Chris?
Will Carling.
That may have sounded like Simon Mason. The fact of the matter is, Kriss Akabusi is a fantastic ventriloquist. Only one more question to answer, and that is, who has won this?
We have. We won the mole argument.
No, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid you haven't, because by quite a margin on this occasion, the winners are Steve and Peter. And as the audience surges forward to shake the hands of Steve Redgrave and Peter Nicol, while studiously ignoring Kriss Akabusi and Simon Mason, we say, not for the first time, until next week, goodbye.
The chairman for Game Set and Match was Paddy Feeny. Our scorer was Louise Friend, and the extracts were read by me, John Stone. Chris Rhys set the questions, and the programme was produced by Gillian Grey.